guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you stopped by today because today we're finally gonna do another evolution. I haven't done one in a very long time. I do plan on eventually getting all of them done. I'm just kind of trying to spread it out, plus I have other projects, and I got lucky enough to get commissioned for this one. So today I'm gonna show you guys how to do Flareon. Anyways, let's get started. Okay guys, the first thing we're going to start on is going to be the sewing for our Flareon. I'm going to show you guys the pattern real quick and then we can move on to putting everything together. Okay, so right here I have the main body along with the tail piece, and then the legs actually detach from this so we can do the other side of the legs. And then right here I have the pattern for the mane along with the belly piece and the little tuft of fur that's going to be on Flareon's forehead. Now the hole in the middle of the mane is how it's going to connect to the body and the head. You're probably wondering how I got the measurements for this, and it's actually super simple. I took the belly piece and I made that the measurement for the bottom of the hole, and then I took the main body and I measured the part where the neck would be, and that's where this is going to connect to the main body. So I measured that and I made two lines. I basically just divided the measurement in half so I could make it more curved. And then right here is the fur that we're going to use to make Flareon. Now if you want, I've seen Flareon drawn in two different color tones. These natural colors right here, and then I've seen his body a really vibrant red and his mane and tail a really strong yellow. So if you wanted to go for more exaggerated colors, you could get red and yellow and it would be just fine, but I wanted to stick to more the original colors. Okay, so I cut all of our fabric pieces out and I have the main body, a left and a right. I've got the inside parts of the front and back legs, a left and a right for each of those as well. And then I have the belly piece cut out as well. All of these pieces are going to be the kind of amber / burgundy color that I picked. And then right here I have all the fabric cut out for the cream colors. For the mane, you're going to need two of these pieces. For the tuft of fur, you'll need a left and a right. And then for the tail, you're going to need 4 of these. I'm doing this so we're kind of in a way making it like a ball. That way it can be super fluffy. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start sewing is going to be the tail. So I'm going to take 2 of the pieces for the tail and I'm going to sew down one side connecting them. Then I'm going to spread those open and I'm going to take another piece for the tail and connect it down one of those sides. And then I'm going to take the final piece and I'm going to connect it to both sides. And this is pretty much what that's going to look like. For the little tuft of fur that's going to go on the forehead, all I did was I sewed these 2 pieces together all the way around. I left the very base of this open, that way I could flip it right side out and stuff it. And then for the mane, I took the 2 pieces for that, I put them together and I sewed all the way around them. And that's it for all the cream color pieces. Now we're going to move on to the main body piece. For the body, you're going to take the main body piece and then you're going to take the inside parts of the legs and you're going to put those together and sew all the way around them. You're going to do that with the front and back. Then you're going to take your belly piece and connect the main body pieces to that. So you're just going to go from where the neck is all the way down the body until you get to the end. Now that the main body piece is finished, we can add the other pieces that we already made to the body. So I'm going to start with the tail and I'm going to sew that to the end of the body. Then I'm going to take the mane and I'm going to sew that all the way around the neck. After you're done with all the sewing, you can take the body piece and you can flip it all the way right side out. At this point, I stuffed the tail and the legs, but I left the rest of the body unstuffed. Now we're going to make the wire frame for the piece. So I need 3 pieces of wire for this. One of them is going to be the spine, so it's going to run from the head all the way down the back and into the tail. So I made one end long enough to go all the way inside of the tail so we can have the tail stand up. And then the other end is going to be where we're connecting the head. And then the other 2 pieces of wire are going to be the length of the front legs, the middle of the body, and then the back legs. And then you're going to take all 3 of these wire and wrap them together with a thinner wire, and then there you go, you have your wire frame. Now that our wire frame is done, we can add it to the body. So I'm going to take all the wires for the legs and carefully run them through the individual legs. The reason I like stuffing my legs ahead of time is because it's a lot easier to stuff the legs without a wire in them. And then the wire just slides right past the stuffing, so it's a lot easier this way. Now we need to make Flareon's face. So the base of the face is going to be this foam ball. We'll later connect it to the wire frame, but first we need to make the clay face on top of it. So I'm going to start by covering the ball in tin foil. I'm doing this, that way we can remove the clay from the foam because the foam can't go in the oven. Also, if you bunch up the rest of the foil at the end of the ball, it gives you kind of a handle to hold on to while you're sculpting. Next, I'm going to take my Sculpey clay and I'm going to roll out a good portion of it. I'm going to leave this roughly ½ an inch thick, that way it's not super thin. I'm going to drape this over our foam ball and then I'm going to start adding more clay to the front of it to make the nose. After I like the shape of it, I'm going to move on to adding the eyes. So I'm going to take some strips of clay and I'm going to create the bottom eyelid. I'm going to blend that into the face and then I'm going to take 2 more strips to make the top eyelids. Once I like how the eyes look, I'm going to take my tools and I'm going to outline the eyes. I'm doing this because the whole rest of the face is going to be completely covered in fur, so the eyes and the nose are the only thing that you're going to see. And then for the nose, I'm going to take a little ball of clay and I'm going to put that at the end of the snout. I'm then going to blend it in and shape it, and then I'm going to also outline that as well. And then lastly, I'm going to take my tools and I'm going to make the shape of the mouth. So I'm just going to take my tools and I'm going to push into the clay and make a nice deep line. You're not going to have to do a lot of detail with this because, again, this is just so we can put the fabric over it. So you're not going to see this amount of detail, it's going to be all fuzzy. Now that we're done with the sculpting, we're going to pry open that tin foil and we're going to take that foam ball out, and then we're going to put our head in the oven for 275 Fahrenheit for roughly about 45 minutes. Now we're going to connect the head to the body. So the first thing I did was I took my needle and thread and I'm going to sew around the opening that we have in the mane. I'm going to go all the way around, and once I've gotten to the other end, I'm going to pull tight and then I'm going to tie off my string. Now, a lot of you guys have been recommending that I try out a couple different glues to use for my pieces, so today I'm going to try out E6000. I believe it's a type of super glue. So I'm going to be using this to connect the head and to fur the rest of the face. So to connect the head, I'm going to put a ring of glue around the opening of the mane and a little bit on the wire. And then I'm going to take that foam ball and I'm going to push it onto the wire, making sure it's pressed up against the glue on the mane as well. Then I'm going to take that same glue and I'm going to glue on our clay face onto the ball. Now this glue does take a few hours to dry, so a lot of these steps I had to let the piece dry before I added more to it. Okay, now before I start adding the fur to the face, I need to paint the nose and the eyes. So I'm going to start out by painting the nose and the inside parts of the eyes black. Now the painting for this I'm leaving really simple because I'm trying to stay as close to the anime style as possible. I'm not going for something super realistic. So once I had the black paint dry, I decided to go over the eyes a little bit at the very bottom with some green, because in some images that you see Flareon, he does have a bit of a green tint to his eyes. So I'm just kind of giving him a little bit of a whoosh right at the bottom to create the illusion of a pupil. After that, I added some white highlights to it to make it look like it had a shine. And then the last thing I did was I painted the eyelids to match the fur that we'll add to the face. This color went on a little thin, so you might have to do a few layers of it. And then once everything is dried, we're going to paint on a layer of resin. So I'm going to mix up a small batch of it and then I'm going to brush it over the surfaces that we've already painted. We're going to let this dry overnight and then we can start working on the fur. Now for Flareon's ears, I'm going to have the back side fur fabric and the front side is going to be a black felt. And then I'm also using a thin wire to help the ears keep their shape. So I'm going to glue the wire onto the back of the felt and then I'm going to glue the felt onto the back of the fur fabric. We're going to let this dry and then I'm going to cut it out. And then to connect the ears to the head, I'm just pushing the ends of the wires into the foam ball and gluing them into place. Now I am going to be using my hot glue gun for a little bit because this glue is not super sticky, so I'm putting a little bit of hot glue onto the fur fabric pieces and then I'm gluing around that. So I need just something to hold it into place while the rest of the glue dries. So just keep that in mind if you want to try this glue. So far I really like it because once it's dry it's like rock solid. It's still soft actually, but it just holds really good. So yeah, you might have to find some other glue or some way to pinch something together while you wait for the glue to dry. So to fur the face, I'm just cutting little pieces of fabric that would fit certain parts of the face, and then I'm just going to glue those into place. And then we don't want to forget Flareon's little tuft of fur that goes on his forehead. Once I was done adding the fur to the face, I let the glue dry, and then I went over the face and the legs with my trimmer and a pair of scissors, just to kind of shape the fur a little bit so it wasn't so shaggy. Okay guys, and that's how I did a Flareon. I really hope I can do another one pretty soon. I have the fabric if you guys want to see Jolteon, but I haven't figured out how to do Vaporeon yet. I really want to do him justice. His body's just a little bit more difficult than most of the evolutions. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's project. If so, leave me a like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!